All right, so I just wanted to show a few submissions that I received from the beta testers for that first project or that first challenge. And so doing so will help you, further refine, your eye for design. So hopefully you were able to come up with something that you liked, and hopefully the feedback you receive is also something that would help you. So here's one that we received from, these are 4 different submissions from 4 of the beta testers for designcourse.com. And this is the first person's take here. And actually overall, it's pretty good. They got the general idea, fill out the layout that we have, the available space with the required elements. We have the 4 elements. We have the 2 type elements and then the 2 background elements right here. And the only thing that it would change about this is there's a lot of white space separating these 2 elements quite a bit, and they feel just disconnected. So when it comes to your headline and a subheadline, they should feel as though they're one component or one unit together. So what I would do is simply just move this down, maybe move this up, and that's it. So the original is right here, and I can grab my change that I just showed you over here, and we can see that they now feel a lot more connected, that they're not, so disconnected from each other. So very small change. As you can see, everything else is good. They had good alignment. So if we hit Shift R, we draw this out. They're right there where they need to be. All very good. Equal white space on the left and the right here. So yeah, very good. Next one is right here. So this one, I did have a problem with this just because when it comes to having, this is basically used as a container, or kind of like a card essentially, the way that this particular lighter blue color was used. And when it comes to your white space on the inside of a card or your container, when we have an amount like right here, and it's the same at the bottom, these 2 top and bottom match, and that's good. And then you have an amount that's maybe twice as much on the left and right. It just feels odd. So what I would prefer to see is an adjustment like this, where it is now pretty much even all the way around. And it just makes it feel a lot more consistent. And then additionally, let me just duplicate this. Additionally, let's move that over. Just so it doesn't feel kind of like a centered card container, we could do something like pull this off over here, or we could pull this, we could pull this all the way that way. These are my original comments right here. Or we could also have taken it like this, the opposite way. So if I delete this real quick and just bring these up, we'll see the original. Again, kind of just feels off a little bit about that alignment. Here's with it brought over. Here's another iteration where it's just all the way across, 100%. And then now, the fact that there's so much space over here compared to here, it's not that big of a deal because it is a significant amount, not just maybe like twice as much, and that way it feels disjointed. So when we compare, for instance, the original, we look at just these 2 from the top and bottom, this flows more, it flows better as opposed to just this one right here. Very small changes though, so that's what I like to see. That's why there's a lot of constraints. Next up, we have this one. Now the biggest issue with this, and I like the creativity of having a 45-degree angle on here. The biggest issue with this is scale, which also creates issue with too much white space. So a lot of these UI design fundamentals kind of work in conjunction with each other to either enhance each other or make each other worse. So this would be way too small, just for the fact that if we're trying to utilize this entire space, we then have all this space that's unused, so we can certainly improve this quite a bit. So here is one such iteration where I took their overall idea and just really boosted up the size of this text so we can really utilize the space much more, and then just move this down here. So we go from this to this, and just notice how it's filled out so much better. And then finally, we'll look at one more. This one's pretty solid. There's an issue with white space though. Just a lot of unnecessary white space down here. So my change is just to pull it down. And so really, I could just show you real quickly. I just take this, pull it down. We'll take this element, maybe put it around here. And we could do that, or we could perhaps do this. And then move this up. So there's a million different things that we can do, as you can see. But getting back to the original, we can see how it just feels like a little bit too much white space, empty space over there. All right, so hopefully just seeing those few examples, I will help solidify, what I was looking for. Overall, a lot of people did great, but of course, you have all the training wheels on. You had to use the black text. You had to use the same font family. You had to use the same colors and everything. So now we're going to go ahead and start stepping into component design. I just wanted to get our feet wet with this initial challenge of building a really simple layout. But before we could build full layouts, we have to understand how to build the smallest elements that comprise or compose of layouts or a UI design entirely, which are individual components.